New York Roadrunners presents NYRR Live, hosted by Channel 7's Rob Powers and Olympians Todd Williams and Kerry Tollefson. This is NYRR Live.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to NYRR Live, the wrap-up show for the 2012 New York City Half Marathon. Hi, everybody. I'm Rob Powers, along with two-time U.S. Olympian Todd Williams. Todd, in the build-up to this half marathon on Sunday, we expected a lot of things, and this half marathon lived up to every single one of them.
Olympians, Boston Marathon champions, ING New York City Marathon champions. The weather conditions were perfect.
Perfect.
15,000 strong, fantastic day.
Runners today from 69 countries and 49 states, anywhere from age 81 down to 13 years old, ran today through the streets of Manhattan, and we saw it all. It lived up to its billing from the start to the finish. A great day for racing, a great day for New York City.
No doubt about it. That's what I loved about the event. 15,000 strong. Up front we had great races, but also I think there's a 14,900 probably had great days as well. Personal records were set all over the place. Fantastic.
The day just was conducive to just about everything. We woke up bright and early this morning, dark and early this morning actually, and made our way to Lower Manhattan. We didn't know exactly what we would find at the start of this race, but we found, I guess, everything any racing fan could expect today, because we had great, the field, a record field for the New York City Half Marathon. 15,000 runners. And Todd, as you said, the elite runners, oh yeah, we had them, some of the best in the world. But it's that pack, that 15,000 strong, the New York City, the guy you run next to on the treadmill at the gym, the lady you see in Central Park on her lunch hour, they were here too. And this meant everything to them as much as it did to the elite runners.
No doubt about it. And I think what you're going to see is this event continue to grow. The elites are going to go home and talk about it. The middle of the packers are going to go home and talk about it. And the first timers are going to go home and talk about it. And you're going to see this thing go to 20,000 and just be a great event. And people are going to talk about it around the country.
Last year, I believe we had 10,000 entrants for the New York City Half Marathon. This year, upwards of 15,000. And I don't think the New York Roadrunners will rest easy until we have 50,000 runners for this day, for this race, to kind of bookend moving into the marathon in November.
No doubt about it. I mean, this, along with the ING New York City Marathon, I mean, New York was already on the map. Now it's even shinier. I mean, I'm going to go home and say, look, you guys got to travel to New York City to run that half marathon, because it's a stellar event.
And we did hear from the elite runners for this race that anytime there's anything going on in New York City race-wise, they're going to put it on their calendar. It's on their schedule. That's how special this was, not only for the elite runners, but for the people that live here as well, to run through the streets of Manhattan. It's not often they close down Times Square for anything. They did it today.
Yeah, it's just a fantastic event. I know the growth's going to be there. The times they keep getting faster and faster, so people not just want to come here to enjoy the city of New York, but they're also going to want to come here to run fast.
To be able to run through the paths in Central Park, to be able to run down 7th Avenue and right down 42nd Street to Times Square, the West Side Highway with no traffic, and then back down here into Lower Manhattan until you get right here on Water Street, making your way down to the finish line. It was a special day from start to finish. The preparation that each runner put in for this race, elite or the weekend warrior, it was special. Let's go to the starting line right now. Kerry Tollefson caught up with some of the runners just before they took off.
Defending NYC half champion Caroline Rotich of Kenya. Are you excited to be back running through the streets of New York?
Yeah, I'm excited. Every time I came here, I feel like it's home. So it's just like get out there and do what I have to do.
We'll have a great warm-up and we'll see you on the course.
Thank you.
Well, I'm here with Bobby Curtis, who's getting ready to run through the streets of New York. A little bit shorter distance this time, though. I mean, you ran the marathon last fall, now going to run the half today. How you feeling?
Feeling good. For the New York City Marathon, I didn't quite make the distance going the pace I wanted, so half the distance should be good for me today.
Well, you had a great half last year, so, I mean, you obviously like the distance.
Yeah, so my first half marathon, I ran 61 minutes, so hopefully I can do better than that today.
Good, we'll have a great time.
Okay, thank you.
Well, Well, here with one of the famous coaches in the U.S., Jerry Schumacher. Jerry, you have kind of a new high-profile athlete that you're coaching now, Carrie Goucher. Why are you guys here today?
You know, coming to New York for any athlete is a special time, and everyone loves it. But for Carrie, I think she feels at home here in New York. So with the marathon and the half she's run here, and then the numerous events that New York Roadrunners puts on, it's been pretty spectacular for her. So.
How nervous are you as a coach?
Yeah, you know, there's a lot of work to be done yet between now and the trials, but we're definitely excited.
Well, we'll see you on the track this spring, and have a great day today.
Yeah, thank you.
Here with one of our international wheelers, Robert. You guys came all the way from Toronto to race the NYC Half. Tell us about that.
Yeah, we came up for the week. My wife and 2 little girls. My wife and I are running today's race. So it's just been a great way to see the city and just a great way to get out.
Well, we'll see you at the finish line. Go get them.
Thank you so much.
Well, Neil and Norman, we couldn't hardly find you guys out here. I mean, seriously, what's up with the get-up?
He's our fashionista right here. It's Neil. He's color coordinator. Check out his calves.
Blend in with the crowd. We don't want to cause any bumps and bruises. We just want to take our time going down to South Street Seaport.
Right. We'll have fun out there. We'll for sure be able to spot you.
All right, Carrie, thank you very much. If that's how much fun they had at the start of this race, they were in for a fun day. Let's get into the nuts and bolts of today's race day. We all started in Central Park this morning. The gun sounded at about 7:30. Make one big loop around Central Park, and then you exit. We started around 64th Street. Todd, can you talk about the build-up to this race? What goes through the runners' minds as they toe the line and get ready to start this?
Well, I think the first thing they did is they woke up this morning and they realized, let me take advantage of today. The weather conditions are fantastic.
Right.
Everyone's been talking about the fields that have been assembled. So I'm really going to get out there and I'm going to hammer. And I think that's what goes through most elites' minds. I'm going to take advantage of today against a great field.
So there's race preparation, and then there's the race. And right at the top of that pyramid is the start. So we started in Central Park and got off to a great start. The early stages through Central Park, what do you remember about that?
What I remember is the gun goes off. Kim Smith from New Zealand, Dariva Murga, boom, from Ethiopia, right to the front. And speaking of taking advantage of situation, within the first mile, they had already formed a gap on 90% of the field. And so decisions had to be made within that first 5K especially. Am I going to go with Dariva Murga from Ethiopia? Am I going to go with Kim Smith from New Zealand? That's my thoughts of that initial first 5K.
And it didn't take any time at all to establish who the leaders were going to be in this race, not just through the early stages, but, they had a 35-second lead almost right off the bat.
Yeah, and that's what I always like to talk about. I mean, the gap formed early, and they're forming gaps against the best runners in the world, which is amazing. But the nice thing is, after 5K, it just wasn't a one-woman show or a one-man show. You had Kim Smith, you had Dariva Murga, but they were chased down by Kenyan Peter Karui on the men's side and Friwa Dado from Ethiopia, the ING New York City Marathon champ, chased her down, and that became a pack of 2 pretty much from 5K on.
So in the early stages, Peter Karui and Dariva Murga, they set the pace for the men, and Kim Smith and Friwa Dado, as you said, set the pace for the women. And the drama was kind of out of it early in this. The drama was kind of gone as they jumped out to the early lead even before we left Central Park.
Yeah. And speaking of pace, it just wasn't a pace. It was on fire. I mean, these guys were running sub 59 minutes for the first 10,000 meters. And on the women's side, Kim Smith was pushing it so hard. She was running 105 pace. So that first 10,000 meters was extremely quick, especially when you're talking about the elevation changes within Central Park.
So then we leave Central Park and we head down 7th Avenue and we get down to Times Square. By the time we hit Times Square, the lead was up to in excess of 35 seconds, sometimes approaching almost 50 seconds as we left Times Square. And the excitement, not only for the elite runners, but for the weekend warriors to come down through Times Square and just see that entire scene. It just must have been something special.
Well, that's that adrenaline rush that you
no
get.
Kidding.
And running in New York City, I can't, I never got a chance to experience this, but I get goosebumps thinking about what that must feel like. The gun goes off and you're running, you're running in a field with some of the best runners in the world, and they just get flushed through. And so what they have to do in that middle of the pack, because they train extremely hard, the middle of the packers too. But they've got to hold back as well, just
Right.
like the elites trying to do.
Now that was the fun part of the race, and then they came back around down the West Side Highway again. Like we said, absolutely no traffic this morning on the West Side Highway. But our leaders had very much established themselves as they came down and made their way down to Lower Manhattan. So we had the 2 leaders for the men, we had the 2 leaders for the women, and then the second pack, some of our bigger names just off the pace, just a tick.
Yeah, the Dathan Ritzenheim, Felisa, he was off the pack from Ethiopia. So yeah, you saw that second pack. But what happened in that second pack is they knew they were still running fast.
Right.
And so, the Mavs and the Dathan Ritzenheims and the Desis, they hung in there and they kept grinding because they knew how fast that pace was up front. So, they wanted to take advantage of the environment, the atmosphere, and the conditions as well.
But there's no denying that among the men, it came down to Peter Karui
and Darima Murga. There's the 2.
So as they came, they traded back and forth, almost pushing each other down the stretch.
Well, not just down the stretch. If I go back to a 28:02 through 10K, sub 59 pace all the way through probably 10 miles, and that's the reason I turned to you at 10 miles and I said, with Murga's background, as a Boston Marathon champion, he still has the speed, but he doesn't have as much speed as a Peter Karui. So I thought he's going to have to really push hard and break Peter Karui because he can't get away from his leg speed. And same thing on the women's side. I thought that, that Priwa Dado is going to have to try to get away from Kim Smith and really push hard in that latter third of the race. And we kind of had a reversal of fortunes on both sides. Dado pushed hard, and she started to form the gap with a mile to go. And Murga, he couldn't get away.
Okay, and then they enter our sights as they run down Water Street. And Karui had established himself as soon as he made the turn.
Yeah, he did establish himself. And I think, like I said earlier, I think he's probably kicking himself a little bit because he had a shot at Haile Gebrselassie event record. And that mile from 11.5 to 12.5 pulled him off that record pace because he looked really good. When he was coming down this straight, it looked like he didn't even run yet.
Right.
Murga had a real game effort. He put it out there. He pushed it. Strategically, he ran a great race, but it just wasn't enough today, and Karui had enough speed. On the women's side, Kim
almost
Smith,
a mirror image.
A mirror image. But what happened there is Priwa Dado did do something. She pulled away. She got enough of a gap, and Kim Smith couldn't close it.
Right.
And I know that Kim was thinking, yeah, she was going right to left and looking tired, but she probably knew, man, if I would have just stayed a little bit closer and could use my track speed, I could have pulled this off today.
In an Olympic year, you can't overstate how important a race like this is. And this race had everything today. We talked earlier about the perfect weather, the 15,000 strong, and the elite runners running an elite race at an elite pace coming down. And we had fantastic finishes all the way through.
Yeah, I mean, even like Ameb Keflezighi, he didn't come in the top 3, but he still ran his best time. I mean, he had an exciting race. We talked to Carrie Goucher, who finished 3rd.
Right.
She was excited about her effort today. So, and I think there's stories like that all the way across the line. That, yeah, they didn't win the race, but they walked away. They're walking away from the New York City Half Marathon confident, excited, not only to come back next year, but excited and confident going into the rest of 2012.
This field, some 15,000 strong, which means there were 15,000 stories to be told along the race course today. Carrie Tollefson at the finish line with just a few.
Here with Priwa Dado, won the NYC 2012 half this year, won the New York City Marathon last year. You know how to run fast on these streets, don't you?
Yes, New York has been very good to me, and I'm very happy.
The runner-up of the NYC half, Kim Smith, how'd it go today?
It was pretty tough out there. The park is always hard, so coming out the park, my legs were a bit dead, and I tried to get away from her a bunch of times, but she just hung on and got me in the end. So, but it was a good hard race. Yeah.
You think you're going to have to go back to Magnolia Bakery after this race?
Yeah, I went back actually a few times after we went, so I'll have to go back again. Yeah.
I think that is her secret. A lot of icing. Congratulations today.
Thank you.
Kara Goucher, 3rd place today, made your Olympic team already. How excited are you?
I'm really excited. I'm so excited about the year ahead, and today was really fun. Podium's always an honor, and my son is obsessed with the microphone.
Cool. Did you have fun today? Peter Karuri, our 2012 12, NYC half champion. How do you feel out there, Peter?
New York City is a very beautiful country and city, and the people are very happy. They were enjoying when we were running, cheering us. I'm very happy about them.
Are you going to be back?
Of course, I will be back next year to come and defend.
Well, great job today.
Thank you, thank you.
All right, everyone here in New York City knows Meb Kufleski. Meb, you made the team. You have a second best day today with a 101. What's going on?
I'm getting better with age, just wine, you know. It's great to be in New York. The crowd was phenomenal, and the New York road runners always do a great job supporting the U.S. distance running, and we're coming, you know, but it's fun to be here and competing.
What do we think we're going to see in London?
My goal in London is to be on the podium, whether people like it or not. I've been there, I know what it takes, and it's going to be 2:08:30 or faster to be on the podium, but I'm going to do my best.
All right, silver medalist already. You can do it.
Thank you, Carrie.
All right, Kerry, thank you very much. We cannot talk enough about just how successful this day was for the elite runners, for the everyday runner, for the city, for the New York road runners, for just about everybody. In an overall overview, Todd, what a great day.
Fantastic. Mary Wittenberg and her staff should be applauded all night long. I'm telling you, I've been to numerous events, many events around the country, and this is the first time I got to experience this race, and it's just phenomenal. I mean, the crowd support, the charitable aspects of the event, it's really second to none, and I'm sure it's going to continue to get better and better.
At least 2,500 runners running for charity in this event. I'm going to run 13.1 miles. How much are you going to give me per mile? That's what makes this event great. The elite runners, the everyday runner coming through the streets of Manhattan right here to run this event. As you said, Mary and the entire staff at the New York Roadrunners are to be commended. The city of New York to be commended, because this is such a joint effort to shut down Manhattan for a day.
I mean, it's a huge production, and that's what a lot of the runners don't realize. I mean, when I was running, I just thought I showed up, put a number on, started, and it was over. But it's a whole team effort. And when an event goes off like this, and the excitement's there, the crowd support, the city of New York is behind it, you can't not but go home and talk about it and get more people to come up here and run this thing.
Imagine the planning for a wedding when you invite 250 guests. It takes the better part of a year to get ready for that. That's what the New York Roadrunners did today for the New York City Half Marathon, except they invited 15,000 runners, and all of these people lining the route all the way through. It was just a monumental task, and one that continues, and it gets bigger and better every year.
And the reception will be even better with 15,000.
I'm looking forward to the reception. In fact, after the race, the post-race festival presented by Poland Springs, Carrie Tollefson, she gets all the good kicks, was there again for him.
Well, I'm here with Janine. You just had a great race at the NYC Half. How was the race?
Great. My favorite part was Times Square. My least favorite part, the hills.
Good. Maybe you'll be back here next year.
If I can get in. But I'll be here. The lottery.
All right. Congratulations, Janine.
Thank you very much.
So who's Molly?
Molly's our daughter and sister.
Molly!
And Molly is running for Bridget. Tell us about Bridget.
Well, Bridget has autism, and Molly raised money for autism. She raised over $1,000.
Well, you guys enjoying yourself here at the Post-Race Festival?
We are. Woo!
You're waiting for Molly to come, huh?
That's right. Run, Molly, run.
Well, I'm here with Crazy Legs. You're having a blast out here. Woo!
Phenomenal. You know, the New York Roadrunners Club does amazing things across all 5 boroughs. I've lived in New York for 18 years, and the best daydreaming of my life is when I've been jogging. So I encourage everyone to come to the City of Dreams and just get out on the road.
Well, tell us about your race. I mean, I know that you said you're not quite sure about 26.2, but you like the 13.1.
The bottom line is it's important to get out, no matter what your speed level is, and the after party is why I'm here. What could be better than that?
Well, go get your groove on. Way to go, Crazy Legs.
Cheers, New York.
All right, Kerry, thank you. The celebrations in high gear, and they're not going to stop for a while. The celebrations continue at the South Street Seaport and will continue for every runner celebrating whatever they wanted to accomplish today, they accomplished. But they're not the only ones. The city can celebrate another fantastic event in the storied history of New York City. Todd, your final thoughts from this wonderful day, the 2012 New York City Half Marathon.
My final thoughts are I really think this event is going to continue to grow, continue to get better. Today on the elite side, we saw 2 fantastic races. You couldn't get much better. You couldn't have scripted it any better. Peter Karui from Kenya, champion. Freewat Dado from Ethiopia, champion. I'm sure they're going to want to come back and experience the city, but also 15,000 runners, a great time. I'm glad I got to be a part of it.
It was a fantastic day, and our work is not done because on April 25th, we will be back for opening day ceremonies of the ING New York City Marathon. We will be back with you on NYRR Live. Like I said, our work is not done. It is just beginning as we get ready now for the next phase, the 2012 ING New York City Marathon. I had fun working with you, partner.
Good times.
Nice to see you, man.
Times.
For Todd Williams, I'm Rob Powers from New York City. Have a great night, everybody.